It's Rob!
Tony!
And I'm Jeff.
We're in gaming.
And that's you.
Hello gamers and welcome back to the end. I'm Rob.
I'm Tony.
And today we're going to be going over some more the
Whispers of the Old Gods cards.
For some reason I couldn't remember that. This is going to be our 4th episode, and I believe we're covering 16 cards today.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And yeah, let's begin.
Infest.
You can go over the first one.
Okay.
We'll go back and forth.
It's a 3-mana hunter card, and it says, give your minions Death Rattle, add a beast to your hand. So essentially it turns them all into web spinners, which is kind of cool. I actually really like this card because, honestly, just because of the synergy with Unleash the Hounds.
For 6 mana, that's a lot of mana.
But then it's also basically draw 3 cards, or draw at least, well, however many you
It reminds me of Bullet Spiders a lot. It's like half the price is Bullet Spiders.
Yeah, but more immediate board reaction if you combo it. I mean, I kind of like it. I think it'll find its way into some hunter decks. Obviously, it's probably too slow for any of the fast hunters, but I think more of like the mid-range or closer to control types, if that even becomes a thing. People tried. People have tried.
Blizzard's trying hard to make Control Hunter
with
or
Sandworm.
A
thing. Whatever.
But I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool card.
Yeah.
But for this class, I think I can see this more in like Beast Druid.
I see this in Arena being more than
Arena would be really cool.
Like you get a lot of value at this in Arena. Like later in the game, let's say you have 2 or 3 cards on the field. For only 3 mana, you have the potential to make 3 more cards, and in that you could get, another 5, 6, 7 drop beast. And then with that, I mean, you can just kind of go ham.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a solid Arena card in my opinion. Maybe not seen as
definitely.
much in ranked play just because of how
Imagine
slow
this
it
is
is.
a Druid card though, like Beast Druid, token Beast Druid. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why they're pushing for like Beast Druid. I know why they're pushing for Beast Druid.
Mid Druid's gone.
But it's weird that they're not putting cards like this inside of Druid and they're putting it inside of Hunter. It's very strange.
They're really trying to push for that that later game Hunter. Anyway,
moving on to Ragnaros, the Light Lord. He is an 8/8 for 8 Paladin card, and he says at the end of your turn, restore 8 health to a damaged friendly character. So exactly the same effect as the original Rag, but instead of doing damage to something randomly on your opponent's side of the field, he actually heals you for 8. And my assumption is because they remove so many healing techniques and cards in GV or with the standard update, such as like Anti-Keelbot is the first card that comes to mind. They're going to have to replace that with something, and they've been doing it
pretty well.
Yeah, pretty well over a course of all the classes. I mean,
Forbidden Healing. I mean, that's
again
literally
another Paladin card. But I mean, you look at what they did with Warrior, and they gave the card the ability to gain 10 armor instead of 5. If you look at, I think there's one more card that does some sort of healing effect. Remember for every card your opponent has on the field, heal for 2. That's all. You guys haven't seen that yet, but it's a card coming up. So they're interpreting and introducing a lot of new healing effects to make up for what they've taken away. And this card just kind of goes along with what they're trying to push there.
It's just hard with Tyrion being such a strong 8-drop already in the Paladin deck. Running 2 legendary 8-drops seems...
like it's a hefty price to pay, and then on top of that, they already
I would really like if it was a 6-drop 6/6 heal for 6.
But then that's not Rag.
But it doesn't go with the Rag.
Yeah, and they already have Guardian of the Kings, which is a 6/7, I think, and it heals for 7 or something like that. So
something like that.
And then they already got a spell that heals them for the excess mana crystal they have.
Yeah.
So this just seems to be over the top, of my opinion, in the amount of heals Paladin has. Like it almost outdoes Priest and things like that, which the whole class, its passive is actually healing. And as we know, Paladin, they do have healing, techniques as being a Paladin, but they shouldn't be like they have more healing, or at least the same amount of healing as Priest, which is insane.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next card.
The new Mukla. It's a 6-drop 5/5 battle cry. Add 2 bananas to your hand. So whereas Mukla,
what do the bananas do first?
Oh, okay. The bananas are 1-drop. I'm assuming it's the same bananas that the first Mukla had, which are 1-drop. Give a friendly creature, or give a creature +1/+1. So in this case, it's a 6-drop 5/5 that gives you 2 1-mana cards that give +1/+1. So essentially, it's like an 8-drop 7/7 if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah.
This card is tricky though, where the original Mukla was a huge tempo play because it was a 3-drop 5/5 big card.
But it gave your opponent the bananas, not you.
Yeah, it was a huge board presence. This isn't really that great of a board presence, but it has the ability to buff your other cards.
The cards that it brings out, with them being spells and the cheap spells that you can combo them with, maybe Archmage, Flame Waker, cards that synergize well with
Rogue,
you casting.
combo activators, things like that, which is really the only decks I could ever see this maybe being viable. If it ever becomes viable, it probably would be in a deck like Tempo Mage or like Kama Rogue kind of decks.
Yeah, so the bananas aren't so much as the 1/1 factor, it's the fact that they're a 1-cost spell that makes them powerful.
Right.
I'm not really sure.
Or Gazlo. Gazlo, leave it in GVG though. Rip.
So, I mean, for what this card lacks in stats, it makes up for the ability that it can combo well with other cards later on in the game. But, definitely. I mean, we're not... Again, like Tony mentioned, I kind of see it played in particular specific decks. If that, maybe. I mean, I'm not sure. It's gonna be hard to say, but it's definitely...
It seems like a very comfy
It's not
card.
One of the better legendaries that we've seen so far. Not that we've seen any really great legendaries to begin with, besides the Rogue one, which is not even that good. Oh, why is this card so small? You can be big too, bro.
There we go.
There you go.
You can be like us.
All right. Oh, you went over the last one. All right, so this guy is a 5-drop, 4/4 battle cry. For each enemy minion, restore 2 health to your hero. So this is the card I was talking about when I was talking about Rag, the Lightward. In my opinion, I think this card is...
Lightwarden?
Lightlord? Ragnaros the Lightlord?
Lightlord, yeah.
Is that what he's called?
Yeah. Ragnaros the Lightlord.
That's what I thought. All right.
I thought you said Lightwarden or something crazy.
Ragnaros the Lightwarden.
Okay.
All right, so in my opinion, I think this card is really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
The reason being...
Comparatively.
No, I just think he's bad.
Okay.
5-drop, 4/4. The stats aren't great. He's a little bit better than an Antique Healbot in stats-wise, but his effect, Antique Healbot, as we know, healed for 8 no matter what, and it also was a mech. This guy is +1/+1 extra, and he says for each enemy minion, restore 2 health to your hero. Okay, so if your enemy only has 1 or 2 minions out, he only heals for 2 to 4. But let's say if they have 5 or 6 minions out, and you're healing for, anywhere between 10 to 12, does 10 to 12 healing really matter when your opponent has 6 minions on the board? And
at that point, you're looking for what? A board wipe?
Yeah, you're looking for field clear, so you don't take that damage again the following turn, and then you're in the same situation as before you played this card. So not only are you spending 5 mana to regain health that you're just going to lose the next turn, he's only a 4/4 with no other ability past that. I mean, yes, it's a battle cry, and you can combo him with Brand and potentially heal up to 20 to 25, 26. If your opponent has 7 cards, you pull off the Brand combo, you just wasted 8 mana, you healed for 20, and then you're just going to fucking lose the next turn because your opponent's just going to smash your face in with the cards that they've had on the field that you didn't deal with in the first place because you spent all your mana healing yourself up with a card that's not even good.
Yes.
So that's my opinion. Anything else?
No, I agree. It's not even like it's a lose more card. If you're losing, it just helps you lose
seriously,
more.
Blizzard just slapped their dick on the keyboard and just said, "What's a heal card we can make? Let's battle cry fucking heal 2 for every opponent. No one's gonna play it, but it looks like it potentially is heading in the right direction." Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Next one.
Yay.
All right.
Why are you so small?
Come on, Rob. You are slacking.
I know.
Oh man.
Let's just make them smaller. I'm sorry, guys. Tony's leaving earlier today because he has class, so I had to put this together a little bit quicker than normal. So that's why the cards aren't the shape that they should be.
Didn't we already go over the Boogie Monster? I'm pretty sure we did. I'm pretty sure we covered the Boogie Monster last time. But anyway, it's an 8-drop, 6/7. Whenever this attacks and kills a minion, gain +2/+2. So essentially, you have to wait.
We did. I don't know.
And okay. Basically, bottom line of this card, you have to wait an entire turn to buff it at all, and then it's just bad. It's just bad. It's so slow.
It's the shitty legendary of the
lot. The Hammett Nessingwary of.
At least Rag is better. Rag the Lightlord is better than him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so heading to the next card. Oh my god, I'm so bad at this game. The game of editing cards. All right, so we got a 5-drop, 2/2, Tentacles for Arms, Death Rattle. Return this to your hand.
So much argument about this card.
Yeah, so people are saying it's going to be, it could be really good in the control decks. Some people are saying it's really bad just for the pure fact that you're spending 5 mana to develop a 2/2. And then you not only, the fact that it has 2 attack, you're going to have to use other utensils to deal with that card that you're originally attacking with this card. And then on top of that, you're taking the damage of attacking the card that you're attacking with this in the first place. So it's...
Unless you're attacking face in, the Super Fatigue game.
Yeah, so, I mean...
There's a couple situations...
I think there's going to be decks where this does fit into, but I think for the most part, it's not going to be seen.
I think everyone should play it anyway, because some guy on Reddit said that if this becomes a staple in Control Warrior, he will donate $10,000 to a charity of our Hearthstone's choice. So everyone play this card for the good of the children, for the kids.
For the kids.
For the kids.
All right, moving on to the next card. If it's smaller, I'm going to cry.
Barely, you're good.
We're heading in the right direction. There we go.
This
Tony?
is yours.
This is mine? I just
No,
talked
it's
about
mine.
the last card.
It's
Yeah.
mine. Okay.
There's only two of us here, Tony. It can only go back and forth, and we're failing on this.
It's a 4-mana priest card. Shadow Word Horror says destroy all minions with 2 or less attack.
You sent me a dank meme of this card one morning.
I did. Oh my god.
No,
All right. As I
you
talk
don't
about
even
it, I'll pull it up as I talk about it.
Okay.
So essentially, it's super anti-aggro, but at the same time, there's so much that priest has that already basically does the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this destroys Death Lords. This destroys like Tunnel Trogs and things like that.
Well, I mean, if the Tunnel Trog is buffed, it doesn't kill it. Also, I'll just have them pop up. You don't have to show them with your phone because that's just going to be horrible res. I'll just make your dank
so
meme
dang.
pop up on there.
It's not my dank meme. I found the
Rob,
dank
pay
meme.
attention. Pop up the meme. All right.
But yeah, so essentially, like for 1 more mana, you can do Holy Nova that doesn't kill your cards, kills their cards, but it heals your minions, and essentially would deal with around the same like type of creature. Two attack, probably about around 2 health. It usually would deal with the same way. So I don't know. It's gonna be in like those super control decks.
I mean, I don't
If
even
that.
see it. Yeah, with that. I mean,
It's a interesting. We'll see. I don't know. This is all speculation.
for some reason, I foresee a card that turns minions' attacks to 2.
to combo with
Yeah,
it, like a equality consecrate kind
Yeah,
of
like
thing.
equality. There's going to be something that synergizes with this because they wouldn't just release this with nothing else to go behind it. They're going to do something.
This is Blizzard.
Like for some reason, like what comes to mind is like Aldor the Peacekeeper.
Yeah.
But that's a Paladin card, and this is a Priest card. So I think they're going to introduce something maybe with Priest that has to deal
Some
with
sort of,
how,
like, AoE humility.
even Shrinkmeister is leaving us, and that reduces a card's HP or reduces its attack by 2. So I mean, even cards like that, like a different form of Shrinkmeister, might be pretty cool.
Yeah,
All right,
definitely.
so heading to the next card. Hey, look, we're almost. It's literally like right there. All
There
right.
you go, Rob.
So this is a card that I basically foresaw for a while now. I mean, Beast Druid. It's just they're trying their hardest,
They're
just like
pushing.
Control Hunter. They're making their way down the cards and just trying to. They keep throwing cards at us until eventually Beast Hunter will be a thing. And this card is a 2-drop. And it says, give a minion +2/+2, and if it's a beast, draw a card. As we know, Ancient of Lore is most likely going to be taking up hit when Standard Mode comes out, so it being a 7-drop, draw 2 cards, there needs to be some form of draw
Cycle.
mechanic that's going to replace that lore, and I believe this is what they're kind of, pushing to get the Druid draw mechanic back up, because as we know, Warlock doesn't need anymore, Priest doesn't need anymore. I mean, a Warrior has the Acolyte of Pains, the shield blocks and stuff like that, but what does Druid have besides maybe an Azure Drake to draw cards?
I mean, Nourish, but that's like...
No one's going to fucking play Nourish. Nourish hurts me bad. So I think this is a direction. I like this card a lot. It's very close to Mark of the Wild, and Mark of the Wild is a 2-drop, 2/2, give a creature taunt. It doesn't necessarily have to be a beast. It gives it taunt, so I kind of like this a little bit more because, again, a lot of Druid cards have taunt anyway, or the option to choose taunt.
Right.
So I think drawing a card is drawing a card is the main factor, which is going to make this card be a really solid staple, in my opinion, in a Druid Beast deck.
I agree. All right, next card.
Hold on, gotta scroll up here real quick and click, and
go.
here we go.
Boom, Scaled Nightmare. It's a 6-drop, 2/8. At the start of your turn, double this minion's attack. It's tricky. It's got to live at least 2 turns by itself to be
Without a buff.
Without a buff to be worth playing, because it'll be 4 the next turn, and then it'll be 8 the next turn. So that's 2 turns to make it a 6-drop, 8/8. But in certain decks that have like cheap buffs, like aggro pally, or Paladin have Blessing of Might or whatever, that 1-drop.
But if you're playing Blessings of Might, you're probably playing Aggro Paladin. If you're playing Aggro Paladin, where does the 6-drop fit in?
Yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, even something like on turn 10, Blessings of Kings, you make it a 6/12 off the bat, and then it becomes a 12/12 the next turn. Or in Rogue, you can Cold Blood Conceal. So then what is that? That would be 2 attack, then 4 attack. So 6 attack on top of that, it's 8, and then 16 the next turn. So there's still going to be some cool synergies, probably some cool combos, but it's not the most reliable of cards.
A Silence also takes care of it.
Silence will devastate this card and literally make it a 6-drop, 2/8 dragon. The dragon synergy is okay too.
I like the fact that it's dragon. I like the fact that they're aiming at making some, because right now we have plenty of 4-drop dragons. We have Twilight Guardian, we have Twilight Drake. For 5-drop dragons, we have Azure Drake.
Oh, Right.
But for 6-drop and 7-drop dragons, there's nothing really right now that fills those spots.
Yeah.
If someone's looking to build a full dragon deck, they really don't have any options. And I think this gives them that option to put this in there.
But you need a deck that can buff.
But you're gonna need to run you're definitely gonna need to run Paladin. Or what about a priest and then they do the make the creature's HP equal to its attack, and then all of a sudden he's a 16/8 and you've spent 8 mana on him in total because the card costs 2 mana.
Right.
That comes to mind.
What is that called? Divine Blessing or Divine
Shikamaru Spirit.
Shikamaru from Naruto. Sasuke. Wow. Okay.
All right,
We've been talking about a lot of Naruto lately.
Okay, so this next card is a card that Reynad went over not too long ago, and it is, how do you say the first part?
Cabalist.
Cabalist Tome. I was going to say a Cabalist.
Tome.
Book.
There you go.
And it says add 3 random mage spells to your hand as a 5-drop. So mages, as we know, have very
such great spells.
Yeah, their spells are really, really good. I mean, whether you're looking at fireballs, frostbolts, arcane intellect, ice lance,
even arcane
blizzard,
blast can be
flame
scary.
strike. There's so many great high drop or even mid range mage spells.
Just fireball by itself is an amazing card.
Yeah. So the ability to get 3 of these is for just 5 mana. So essentially, as long as you get, like in my opinion, if you spend 5 mana and let's say you get like a fireball, frostbolt, and that's essentially 10 mana, you've spent 5 mana to invest into getting 10 mana's worth of cards. So you've generated 5 mana worth of value. The problem with this, you don't develop the board, you don't really put any constant pressure, but I see this fitting more into like a fatigue, stall kind of control mage setup. So I think this card will be played, and I think it's pushing for mages.
Like Arena Mage.
Arena Mage is very well.
One-offs.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this card will see play. I think it's pretty good, and I see a lot of RNG bullshit coming as well.
Which a lot of people are hoping this set wouldn't introduce more RNG bullshit.
Well, as of now, this set has introduced very little RNG.
I will say that is true.
In comparison to GVG and stuff like that.
God. GVG was RNG set.
I mean, obviously, with it being an online card game, there's going to be some random factors in this game.
Marshall keeps moving the fucking.
Yeah. If you guys don't know who Marshall is, he's the in-gaming dog, and he's just chilling down here. How you doing, buddy?
He's so fat.
Yes, he is. All right. So good stuff. Looking forward to it.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
I'll walk
Also,
it a lot.
if you get this card in golden, I'm assuming all 3 cards that you get from it will be golden. So
That's exciting.
This is going to be a good card to.
Golden Pyroblast is so fucking cool.
Gold Pyroblast is a great card. All right, heading into an Egyptian God card.
Okay. It's a 10-drop 10/10 called Yasharj, Rage Unbound. None of the other God cards are the only. Why doesn't Cthulhu have a cool name? It's just Cthulhu. Everything else, it's like
he's a badass. Why do you need a title?
Dude, whatever his name.
The Destroyer of Worlds.
Yeah, whatever.
Defender of the Eighth Gate.
Okay, its ability says at the end of your turn, put a minion from your deck into the battlefield. People really thought that King Varian Rin would be an amazing card.
People.
Yeah, Hearthstone players, warrior players, control warrior players thought that King Varian would be an amazing card for warrior and be played in like all fatigue and control decks for the ability to bring out massive creatures in the late games when your opponent can't do anything about it. But at the end of the day, it was pulling out cards like Alexstrasza, Trueheart, and like, very high value cards that you need their battle cry instead of cards like Ysera and Boom. Like, because even Boom without his battle cries is still a 7/7. You see him? So having a 10-drop 10/10 that essentially does that, but only a third of that, I mean, it guarantees you a creature unlike Varian Rin because it was the top 3 cards, and if they weren't creatures, you drew them. It's in my opinion the weakest of the gods that has been put out. I don't really see how you could even build a deck around this.
Well, there's a card coming up that will allow you to build a deck around him and get him when you want to, as long as it can live on the field for 1 turn, which we'll get to in just a little bit.
I suppose. But, yeah, very underwhelming.
All right, the Cultist. He's a 6-drop, 7/6, so he's BGH meat. I've got the beast in my sights. It says, Battle Cry, give your Cthulhu +2/+2 for wherever he is. So the ability really isn't... We've seen it before with some other lower drops, the Cthulhu deck. This is just probably going to be a basic card that you see in most.
He's a reverse
Cthulhu
Bolgerfist.
He's a rare, so he's pretty easy for most players looking to build a Cthulhu deck to make. I think the Cthulhu deck is going to be basically, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but like a starter deck to beginner players. Not only are they giving Cthulhu away for free during their promotion of the Whispers of the Old Gods, but also all the Cthulhu cards at which they've released so far that will most likely be a staple within the deck are commons and rares. They haven't really introduced any really hardcore legendaries or epics that you're like, oh my god, this has to be my Cthulhu deck. And I think that's good. I think they're in the right...
well, except for maybe a card we're going to go over that Rob mentioned, the last card, the one that gives you...
Oh, yes.
That
but,
might be an epic.
That's not even necessary if you really think about it. No. Like a card that said, like, play this Cthulhu gets +6/+6.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's going to be needed, and they'll make that a legendary, and we all know that's going to be a pain in the ass to get. But for the most part, everything revolving around Cthulhu and Cthulhu synergies has been cheap and allows for newer players or players that you don't want to, invest heavily into the game are able to make that. So I like that.
True.
All right, and here's
the card we were talking about. Ancient Harbinger, it's a 6-drop, 4/6. Stats are, not the greatest. But at the start of your turn, you put a 10-cost minion from your deck into your hand. It's interesting. It doesn't say random. It says a 10-drop, 10 cost. It makes me think that you can pick through it. I doubt it. Highly doubt it, but the wording on that is interesting.
I just don't think they wanted to add random because then it would make it into 4 lines, and 4 lines is really confusing in comparison to 3 lines. So I think this is going to be random. And if you're running more than 2 10-drops in your deck, have mercy, man.
Have mercy.
So, I mean, maybe the thought process behind this card is you're running 1 10-drop and your deck revolves around bringing out that 1 10-drop and being able to do as most you can with that. So that's my thought on that.
But yeah, so, I mean, if you're running a Cthulhu deck, if you're running the Zoth deck, then you want to bring back your Death Rattles, or you're running, somehow you find synergy with your Charge. This might be a good card. Also, even if it baits out a Silence or like a Fireball or something, they just wasted a Fireball on a 6-drop. Or they wasted some sort of CC on it's a high-profile creature, but it's not like really that threatening to them.
Well, I mean, the stats...
In the sense that stats.
Yeah, the stats aren't threatening, but the ability itself. So let's say you've been building up your Cthulhu for the entire game. There's 12 cards left in your deck. Your Cthulhu is now a 16/16. They've got 10 health left.
They're getting little poop stains.
Yeah, so I mean, you bring this card out. They have maybe 1, possibly 2 forms of CC left. They waste their last CC on Harbinger. You draw Cthulhu later on in the game. You play Cthulhu. He's already a pretty big creature as is, especially if he's a fucking 16/16. And they've already wasted most of their CC dealing with your 7/6s, your 4/6s that are automatically going to draw them in your hand. So I mean, I see where they're going with this. Whether it works out or not,
I think it's a cool card though.
Yeah, whether or not it works out inside the game is going to be a different story, because as we know, what works on paper and then what actually works in ranked are 2 different things. So I like the effect. I like the ability. I don't really have a problem with it. It'll be interesting to see it being played.
Agreed.
All right, we've got 3 more cards, this being one of the 3. It's a 3-drop Steward of the Darkshire. She's a 3/3 for 3 Paladin card, and she says whenever you summon a 1-health minion, give it Divine Shield. Hobgoblin has never been so great. I think Hobgoblin is a GVG, isn't he?
I don't know. I'm thinking he's not.
I think Hobgoblin is a GVG. But anyway, this is whenever you summon. So like your passive, this does not count for this. This actually means you have to play the minion with 1 health from your hand. And the only other minion with 1 health I can think of, I mean, there's tons of them, but I think of what's her name? She's a 1/1 for 1. She already has Divine Shield.
Oh yeah,
Ancient Argent
Steward.
Yeah,
Argent whatever.
So like I
it's GVG.
Yeah, I really don't see this being that great. I just don't. In a Paladin deck, what kind of 1 HP creatures are you running that you need to give Divine Shield for? She doesn't even belong to a class like a mech or something, so she can't even go along with any sort of synergies. She's a rare, so it's like when you get her, you're excited. You're like, ooh, what rare did I get? And then you look at her and you're like, oh, well,
unless you're playing like Wisps or like Murlocs, like that. Like, I mean, there is a new Murloc card that we're going to show you
she's summon. It doesn't count.
Well, I know, but I mean, it looks like they're pushing for some sort of like Paladin Murloc synergy aside from like the OTK Murloc we have now. So, I mean, depending on what comes out in the future, maybe there'll be some really cool Murlocs, or the Murlocs now, a lot of them have 1 health.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't even say a lot of them. I'd say a couple of them. Sorry, guys.
It's like half of them.
All right.
But, yeah. This is the guy I was talking about.
Hey, he looks cool. Give him that.
Yeah, Vilefin Inquisitor, I believe, whenever the Firebat went over this yesterday, day before this video was made. It's a 1-drop, 1/3 Murloc, and its battle cry says your hero power becomes summon a 1/1 Murloc and it's a Paladin card, so instead of your Silver Hand recruits, you're getting 1/1 Murloc. So they have that Murloc tag for, War Leader synergy and what is it? The one that gives them health and.
Yeah.
I mean, it sets it up so that your passive can work within like some sort of constructed Murloc deck. Obviously, you wouldn't want to play this in your OTK Murloc because.
But OTK is going away because old Murk is leaving us.
Yeah, so they're going to need something to replace all the Paladin cards.
I think they're pushing to a more mid-range control
That's
sort of
what I
Paladin versus a one-turn kill Paladin deck.
I'd have to agree that that's the direction Paladin should go with Murlocs.
Yeah, I didn't really like the OTK Murloc. There wasn't much. The only times you saw the Murloc, you were dead.
Yeah.
You never really got to get some cool you never really traded well with them. They didn't stay on the field. You didn't get to do some what is it called, Murloc Knight with some crazy stuff with that.
Yeah, you didn't have any
It was all just one turn kill stuff.
Moment synergy. So you just played it and hopefully they didn't get CC'd in some way.
Yeah.
Like they died. So yeah.
I like this card a lot. I like that they're actually pushing to make Murlocs
I just really want to
a
see
thing.
what else they put out.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to have that much more from Murloc synergy, but we'll see.
I mean, I think Murloc should be at least a tier 4 or tier 3 deck. No, they should not be a tier 1 or tier 2 because their Murlocs are silly, they're goofy, they're a gimmick deck, but they shouldn't be bad. They should be
it's
decent.
like pirates.
Yeah. And these are things that'll make Hearthstone fun. You're able to play these goofy, fun decks that sometimes pull off some really cool combos, and you're able to beat some of the higher end decks.
My favorite decks to play are gimmicky decks.
Yeah.
I love them.
All right, so our last card that we'll be talking about was the most recent card announced, and I'm actually really excited for this.
It was actually announced while we were prepping for this video.
Yeah, Tony's like, Rob, there's a new card. I'm like, Tony, we're almost ready. He's like, put it in there, and I'm like, okay, Tony.
I actually love this card though.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like the picture a lot. It's definitely, it looks like a
big
bug.
vagina monster.
A big vagina monster. All right, so he's Thing from Below. So the name's neat. He's a 6-drop, 5/5. So necessarily the stats aren't why you play him. He has Taunt, which makes him a little bit better. And as we know, Taunt creatures, their stats normally suffer a little bit based on vanilla-based creatures. And vanilla meaning they have no ability is because Taunt. If they made Taunt creatures and normal creatures without Taunt have the same stats, why wouldn't you play Taunt creatures?
Yeah, look at Yeti.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you play a 4/5 Taunt?
Yeah. So they have to
4/5.
make cards with Taunt a little bit their stats a little bit reduced, but that's not even what makes this card really cool. It costs 1 less for each totem you've summoned this game, and so basically by the time you play this guy, maybe whether it be between the turns of 4 to 10, hopefully you don't draw him on turn 1 because obviously he's not going to be that great, but you use your hero power quite a lot in the Paladin, or not the Paladin, but a Shaman deck, whether you're playing mid-range or not. And if you play Murgleton, oh, it's each totem you summon. So I was thinking Murgleton. For some reason, I thought passive. But yeah. So it actually makes your hero power worth playing sometimes because you have cards like this that synergize well with it. And
I mean, not just your passive though, but I mean, think of Shaman has some decent totems. Totem Golem is a great card. 2-drop, 3/4.
He counts as
and
a totem.
He's a totem.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Vitality Totem, which I mean, that's more like
you don't really play Vitality.
You don't really
play Manatide Totem.
Yeah, you do play Manatide. So I mean, even if you just play. If you coin into the Totem Golem, have another 1-drop to play, then you play Manatide Totem. Turn 4, you can actually play this card because you've summoned 2. It's down to 4 mana, and it becomes a 4-mana 5/5. That's a solid card.
And if you think about it, Shamans don't really have that many taunts besides what comes to mind is Feral Spirits, but that's not even necessarily a creature.
Earth Elemental.
Earth Elemental, but who the fuck plays Earth Elemental? Unless they get it out of an unstable portal and they play it against me on turn 3, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, that happens.
So I like this card a lot. I like the name. I like the picture. And I'm definitely going to be testing it out in my mid-range Paladin. Why do I keep saying fucking Paladin? Mid-range Shaman, Rob. Shaman. All right. So with that pretty much wraps up all the cards that have been announced thus far. Some of you have been leaving comments like, why didn't you cover this card and why didn't you cover that card?
Simply because.
Well, simply because. But when we make this video, by the next day, there's going to be 2 more cards that have come out that obviously we couldn't have covered because they weren't out when making this video. But when these videos, when we make them, these are the most recent cards at this time. So just keep that in mind. There is some delay.
Yeah. It's not like we stop recording and it's immediately on.
Yeah. So there is some delay there, and it's also, why would we leave cards out? That's just silly. So we're going to do this. I believe this video will come out every Friday because that gives about anywhere between 10 to 20-ish cards. It's a decent amount to cover. We don't want to make a video on this every day and bombard you guys with stupid videos of 3 cards announced at a time.
Oh, wow, look at this card. We got 1 card today. It's a common, and it blows. All right, good video.
Yeah, so we're going to focus on making this around every Friday, which means it'll be released Saturday. I'll do my best to pump it out then. And yeah, as always, guys, I'm Warshack.
I'm Tony.
And happy whatever the hell day it is.